So what is flex shrink? Well, as you can imagine, it defines the behavior our elements have once we, decrease the width. Now keep in mind that the current default behavior is this one, that we basically shrink the elements up to the point where the content requires the space. At least this is true when we apply the flex wrap with no wrap right here, which we will keep like that. Now let's add flex shrink to our item 5 and item 6 again. Flex shrink, like that. And the default value for flex shrink is 1. Let's also add this right here to our item 6, like that. If we now reload the page, you can see the behavior is exactly the one we had before. Now, if I change flex shrink right here to 0, for example, for our last item, then you can see that now the element cannot shrink anymore. So as you can see, it only shrinks up to the 350 pixels width we defined, but as soon as it hits this value, it cannot decrease its width. As you can see it right here and right there. So that's the first thing. If we add flex shrink to our item right here, this item will not become smaller than the defined width it has. So this is flex shrink 0. What happens now if we add flex shrink with a value of 1 to our item 5 right here, and let's say a flex shrink value of 4 to our 6th item? Well, let's see. If we reload the page, you can see nothing changes right here. So here, that's the width of 350 for both items. But if I now decrease the width, it's hard to see, but if we inspect it, let's maybe decrease it a bit more to around about 340. A little bit to go. One more time. Yeah, like that. Now we can see that from the initial width of 350 pixels for item 5, we now have 340 pixels left. So 10 pixels less than the initial value. But our last item already decreased by around about 40 pixels. So 4 times the value we had for our 5th item, because we have flex shrink of 1 right here and 4 right there. And that's exactly how flex shrink works. It allows you first to specify if an element is allowed to shrink. As we saw with the default value of 1, all elements can indeed shrink. With a value of 0, you can ensure that this is not possible. And if you add a flex shrink value which is different from 0, it first allows us to, allow our elements to shrink. But if you apply a bigger shrink value to different elements, then this will also define how much more one element is allowed to shrink when comparing it to another element. And that's actually what you can do with flex shrink. With that, we only have one property left right now.